is so much fun. Oh my gosh, it's awesome. Now this is the time of year where people talk about the things that they're like scared of. Maybe you're scared of zombies or monsters, or maybe you're scared of the dark, or like you're gonna walk all the way through school with your zipper down, or maybe you're scared of that one. Everybody has like one creepy old family member that you see that has like the hairy mole and insists on kissing you on the lips instead of the cheek. You know that family member? I'm scared of that family member. Is anyone else scared of that family member? I'm scared of them. Now, when I was a kid, I was scared of Frankenstein. That's who I was scared of. I was scared of Frankenstein. That's who I was scared of. Definitely afraid of Frankenstein. I don't know why I was afraid of Frankenstein. I was just afraid of Frankenstein. Not that Frankenstein. Yes, this Frankenstein. That's the Frankenstein I don't know why. I was just creeped out by him. I just thought he was really scary. I think you can tell a lot about people by what they're scared of. How many of you were scared of something kind of silly when you were a little kid? If you're just really honest, you're like, yeah, like maybe a strange sound in the dark, or maybe a shape. Yeah, I was that way too. You can tell about people that are what they're afraid of. The other thing you can tell a lot about people is what they get angry about. Maybe these sounds sound familiar in your house. Oh my gosh, how could he miss him? He was wide open. Does that sound like anger words in your house maybe? Or, I hit you, I hit you. Why won't you die? Why won't you die? Why won't you die? Does that sound familiar in your house? Or like maybe you're watching a movie at the very end of it, you're like, I can't believe Iron Man died. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, like there's different things that'll make you angry. Like I said, I think there's a lot, you can tell a lot about somebody by what makes them angry. So here's a question. You can tell a lot about what makes somebody angry, but what makes you angry? If somebody would just really ask you that question, what are the kinds of things that make you angry? I'm not talking about you getting shh. I'm not talking about the things that kind of make you upset. I'm talking about what really makes you angry. Because there's something about what makes you angry that tells something about you. Now the Bible's really clear. It's not a sin to get angry. But what we learn in the book of Ephesians 5 is it says that in your anger, don't let it control you, because then it becomes sin. So that's the key. You just don't want to let it control you. Which, by the way, I'm going to take a quick pause here. Here at halftime, which, by the way, if you've never been here tonight or you haven't been here in a while, man, we're really excited that you're here tonight. Here's a couple of things just to know. I'm the pastor here, I'm Colby, and I absolutely love middle school students. I think you're like the greatest. And we have a lot of people that put a lot of time and effort into making this a great night, a safe place, and a fun place for you. And so one of the things that we ask is when you come in this room, if there's a way that you can just try to give us your full attention, we believe that what we're doing is trying to make your life better and make you better. And so if you could try to not be distracted and just be focused for like 20 minutes, I think that God will speak to you and that you will get something out of your time here. And I believe that tonight will be a night like that. See, because here's the thing. You and me, we can all do something about the things that we get angry about. We can actually turn a negative into a positive when we take what we get angry about and we do something with it. When we do that, we can change things. We can do something positive about the negative happening to somebody else. And when we do that, lives change. When we do that, things change. And so last week we talked about Jesus healing a guy who was born blind. And here's another time that Jesus does that with a different guy in Mark chapter 9. In Mark chapter 9, there's this guy off the side of the road. His name's Bartimaeus. And I'm just gonna call him Bart. For the sake of keeping things simple, I think his buddies called him Bart. I feel kind of close to him. I'm gonna call him Bart, okay? So Bart's off the side of the road, and he hears that Jesus is coming, and he's screaming off to the side of the road. He says, Jesus, Jesus, heal me, heal me, heal me. And like the people next to him are saying, dude, shut up, you're embarrassing us. Be quiet, leave him alone. And so finally Jesus hears him, and Jesus like singles him out. And so like the people next to him are like, you know what, why don't you go and talk to Jesus? And so he throws off this blanket that he's using as a coat, and as best as he can, being a blind dude, makes his way to Jesus. And he gets up to Jesus, and he doesn't ask him for money, and he doesn't ask him for stuff. He says, Jesus, and Jesus says, well, what do you want? He says, well, I want to see. And Jesus looks at him and says, your faith has healed you. And I think it's really cool because in that moment, we see that Jesus saw who Bart was. Jesus saw that he lived in an unjust and unfair world. He saw that something unfair had happened to him. He saw that people around him were treating him unfairly. And Jesus stood up for him and made a difference. And I wonder how different the world would be if you and I did that for other people. if when we saw something that was negative, we did something positive to change it. And I wonder that if we took that seriously, whether or not things would be a lot different. And so one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is there's just so much more violence in the world today, you know? There was a shooting in Greenville last weekend. A couple months ago, there was a shooting in El Paso. Yeah. And that's in Texas, that's here, that's home, right? But see, it's always been that way. Did you know that around the time that your parents were in school, just outside of Colorado, there were two boys named Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, and they shot up their school. They were not a lot older than you. At the Columbine massacre, there were 12 people killed, 23 wounded. There's still people that talk about it to this day, and it happened a long time ago. About the time some of you were born, on a college campus, there was a young guy named Sung Hui Cho, and he killed 23 people. Excuse me, no, I reversed my numbers. He killed 32 people before taking his own life. And then right about the time you started school, in an elementary school, a guy named Adam killed 26 people. 20 of them were kids. They were almost all kindergartners. And then about a year ago, in Florida, was a dude named Nicholas who killed 17 people at his high school. Do you want to know why I share these stories with you? Because every single one of these dudes had something in common. They were young, and starting the time in middle school, they were loners. They felt on the outside. They felt like no one cared. They felt like no one saw them. They were bullied. They were mistreated, and they didn't feel like they had friends. There was some mental illness that had to have played into case with some of them, if not all of them. But in every single circumstance, they were an outsider screaming for someone to invite them inside. That in an unjust world, there was no one looking out for them. And so that reminded me of a story that I had when I was in sixth grade. When I was in sixth grade, there was a kid in our class named Heath. Like the Heath bar, you know what Heath bar is? Heath bar is delicious. I love Heath bars. They're great. It's toffee. It's awesome. Anyway, his name was Heath. And Heath was weird. I'm just going to say it. Heath was weird. Heath had this really loud laugh. Heath had a really weird sense of humor. Heath had a hard time concentrating, would frustrate the teachers that he had, and in turn would frustrate the other students around him. Heath would draw all the time. He was really into military stuff, so he was drawing like tanks and planes and soldiers and stuff like that. And Heath was weird. When recess would come around, Heath would hang out by himself along the edge of the playground and kind of walk back and forth talking to himself. Heath was weird. Well, one day in class, Ms. Raymond, Heath was just really struggling with his math. And I don't know why, because I hate math and math hates me. But anyway, I got pretty good grades in math. And Ms. Raymond pulls me aside and said, you know, Colby, would you take Heath outside and would you work with some math on him? Because we lived in California and the weather there's like perfect like almost all the time. And so we were able to go outside and sit at a picnic table underneath a big tree. And we worked on math together. And I just did the best I could to help him understand it. And like I was really annoyed, if I'm honest, that I was asked to go out and hang out with Heath because Heath was weird. I could hear people whisper and kind of make comments to me and about me as I was going out in the room with Heath. Have fun with your best friend, Colby. It was just like, oh man, come on. But I went out there, and as he started to talk to me about stuff, you know? He started to mention the fact that, you know, his mom and dad didn't get along really well, and they were pretty sure they were gonna get a divorce. And he talked to me about the fact that he was pretty sure his family was gonna have to move because they didn't have money. And he starts to kind of talk to me about all this stuff. And I realized something clicked in my sixth grade head. We're like, man, Heath just needs friends. And so I just, me and a few of our other friends, we started to try to include Heath with stuff at recess and things like that. Now, Heath moved away the next year. I don't know what happened with him, but I just always wondered whether or not Heath was like one of these other guys, you know? That if somebody reached out in an unjust world where people are on the outside and somebody's looking out for them, whether or not we could prevent some of these guys that shot up their schools and made bad choices and felt really hurt and wounded and on the outside. And so I have a question for you. Who's your Heath? I think everybody has a Heath. I think everybody has somebody that's on the outside that they can make a difference in. Somebody who's maybe a little weird, a little different, maybe a little annoying, maybe a little odd. Maybe it's the way they dress. Maybe it's the stuff they're into. Maybe it's their style. Maybe it's that they like different kinds of people or different kinds of stuff than you do. But you know what? I'm wondering whether or not, if you and me made a difference, whether or not we could make a difference in one person's life, and that it could be, everything could be a lot different. Because here's the question you have to ask yourself is, do you want to make a statement or do you want to make a difference? You and me, I want to make a difference by making a statement. The way you can make a difference is one person at a time. Jesus actually was pretty clear about it. He actually said at one point, he said that, it's not just to love the people who love you in Matthew 5. It's not just to love the people who love you. It's that you love the people who need to be loved. That's what makes you different. In fact, if you want to be taken seriously and you want your faith to be taken seriously, you love the people who are hard to love, or you love the people who haven't done anything to earn it from you. That's when your maturity level with how you love goes from little kid to young adult. And that's what I want for you. I want you to enjoy life with more privilege and more respect. And one of the ways you do that is by loving people the right way. You don't just love or like the people who do nice stuff for you. You love or like people because they need it. When you do that and you're looking out for people like that, you make a difference one person at a time. When you see an injustice, you and me, we can do something to help. And I'm hoping that we can do that. And so I have 3 ideas. I have 3 ideas of a way we can do this. Here's the first one. I want you to pray. I want, as you go into your day, I want you to be thinking about, God, who can I be making a difference with? What's one person, what's one place, what's one time that I can make a difference? Because here I am, I'm dressed as a superhero, which if I'm really honest, I don't know if I've preached many sermons dressed like a superhero. And I'm a little self-conscious because I'm probably the chubbiest Captain America you've ever seen. But, and I'm a little self-conscious about it, which is why I'm sucking in my stomach like the entire time, by the way. So thanks for noticing. But what I'm hoping is that if we can be prayerful, we can see the different people that we want to make a difference in their lives, And here's the second one. I want you to pick. Every once in a while you have to make a choice, and that takes courage. It takes guts. You have to make a choice to pick one person, one place, one time to make a difference in. And for some of you might immediately know where that is. It might be at home right now. You might have a stepbrother or a stepsister that's driving you out of your ever-loving mind. You might have a little brother or little sister that's driving you crazy. There might be a kid in your class like your Heath that's a little annoying and a little frustrating and a lot different than you. And you might be the difference maker in their lives. But you need to pick a place and a person to make a difference. You need to actually do something. It's not enough that we talk about it. If I'm real honest, we talk about way too much stuff in church and we don't do nearly enough. You gotta actually pick a moment and a place to do it. And then here's the last one. You gotta prioritize it. You and me, we gotta decide that it's important that when we walk into a room, when we go home, when we go to church, when we go to school, we gotta decide that it's important for us to make a difference in someone's life. We have to make it a priority. Because I'm telling you, if we're not looking out for the people that are living a life of injustice, who will? And you have the power and the ability to make a difference. You have the ability to turn a negative into a positive. You have the unique perspective to see people that get missed. I know a lot of adults are so in their own world, they miss things that you see. I know that there are kids that get picked on in your school every stinking day, that for whatever reason, you have good teachers and good principals and good coaches around you, but it just gets missed. You can make a difference. You can say something. You can invite someone to sit at your table. You can invite someone into a conversation. You can give someone a compliment that could change their day. You could leave a comment on their Instagram post or their story that makes a difference. You can do that. And I want to encourage you to do it. Pray about what you can do differently. Pick that moment, have the guts to do it, and then prioritize it in your life. If you and me do that, lives change.